I'll create a motivational script around financial prosperity, following the structure provided, starting with an impactful introduction. Based on your theme focusing on financial transformation, here's the first section. Section 1, Introduction. Impactante, 600 words, 4 minutes. In the quietness of this moment, there exists a divine opportunity that many pass by without noticing. An ancient door of abundance stands before you, not visible to the naked eye, but clearly perceived by the spirit that seeks with sincerity. This is not simply another message about prosperity. This is an encounter with the very essence of divine provision that has transformed lives across centuries and continents. What if I told you that the words we're about to share together hold the power to realign your financial reality? Not through some magical formula, but through reconnecting you with spiritual principles that govern abundance. Principles that have always existed, but perhaps have remained dormant in your life until now. There's a reason you're listening to these words at this exact moment. Through all the possible paths your day could have taken, something guided you here, a whisper of hope perhaps, or the quiet persistence of your spirit seeking answers to questions your mind has been afraid to fully articulate. The prayer we will share today carries within it seeds of transformation, not just temporary emotional uplift, but genuine recalibration of your relationship with prosperity. It stands at the intersection of faith and action, of spiritual truth and material reality. This intersection is where true abundance begins to flow. I've witnessed individuals enter this sacred space of prayer, carrying the heavy burden of financial struggle, only to emerge with a renewed spirit and clarity that eventually manifested as unexpected opportunities, restored resources, and financial breakthroughs that defied logical explanation. This is not about instant wealth or promising that tomorrow your bank account will magically overflow. This is about something far more profound. It's about reconnecting with the divine source of all abundance, removing the invisible barriers that have been blocking your prosperity, and aligning your heart with the natural flow of wealth that the universe intends for you. Many believe that financial struggles represent some kind of spiritual punishment or personal failure. Today, we challenge that belief. What if your financial situation has been preparing you for a profound revelation about abundance that could only come through the journey you've traveled? The ancient wisdom traditions teach us that prosperity is not merely about accumulating wealth, but about restoring our relationship with the divine flow of abundance. When we align our spirits with this flow, we discover that prosperity becomes not just a destination, but a way of being in the world. In these next moments together, we'll embark on a journey through prayer that honors both your practical needs and your spiritual essence. We'll speak to the part of you that knows, despite all evidence to the contrary, that you were created for abundance, not scarcity, for overflow, not lack. This prayer carries within it centuries of spiritual understanding about the nature of prosperity. It speaks to universal principles that transcend religious boundaries while honoring the sacred connection between humanity and the divine source of all resources. So take a deep breath now, allow yourself to be fully present. The words we're about to share are meant to be experienced, not just heard. They're designed to resonate with the deepest part of your being, the part that recognizes truth when it encounters it. Are you ready to open yourself to a new relationship with abundance? Are you willing to let go of limited thinking about money and resources? This journey begins with your willingness to receive not just material wealth, but the wisdom that creates sustainable prosperity. The door stands before you now. All that's required is your decision to step through it with an open heart and receptive spirit. How many nights have you lain awake, your mind racing with financial worries that seem to multiply in the darkness? The bills that keep coming while the resources feel increasingly stretched thin. The dreams you've had to put on hold because someday when I have enough money never seems to arrive. The growing gap between what your heart desires to provide for yourself and your loved ones and what your bank account says is possible. I see you. In your private moments of anxiety when you check your account balance and feel that knot form in your stomach. In those instances when unexpected expenses arise and you wonder, how will I possibly manage this? In the quiet embarrassment of having to say no to your children, to opportunities, to yourself, because the money simply isn't there. Have you ever felt that no matter how hard you work, financial stability remains just beyond your reach? Like you're running on a treadmill that keeps accelerating while prosperity watches from a distance? Visible but somehow inaccessible to you? Perhaps you've experienced the weight of debt that feels like carrying stones in your pockets as you try to swim toward freedom. Each month, the minimum payments keep you afloat, but never quite allow you to reach the shore of financial peace. You may wonder if this is simply your lot in life, to always struggle, to always worry, to always have just enough to survive, but never enough to truly thrive. Or maybe you've achieved a certain level of financial stability, yet still feel haunted by an inexplicable fear of loss, as if prosperity is merely borrowed and could be reclaimed at any moment. This scarcity mindset casts a shadow over your achievements, preventing you from fully enjoying what you've worked so hard to build. Some of you have experienced the bitter taste of financial betrayal, investments gone wrong, partnerships that dissolved, or economic downturns that swept away years of careful planning. These wounds run deeper than the monetary loss. They strike at your ability to trust, to hope, to believe in possibility again. And then there's the spiritual questioning that often accompanies financial struggle. Why would a loving God allow me to experience such lack? Is this some kind of test or punishment? Have I somehow failed to earn divine favor? These questions can create distance in your spiritual connection precisely when you need it most. The shame of financial struggle often forces us into isolation. We put on brave faces for the world while carrying the burden alone, convinced that everyone else has somehow figured out this money thing while we continue to stumble. This isolation only deepens our pain and prevents us from receiving the support and wisdom that could help us break through. I understand the exhaustion that comes from constantly trying to make ends meet, the mental and emotional drain of always calculating, always restraining, always worrying. This state of perpetual financial stress doesn't just affect your bank account, it seeps into your relationships, your health, your ability to be present and find joy in simple moments. For some, there's also the complex relationship with wealth itself. The messages you received growing up that money is the root of all evil, that rich people are somehow morally compromised, that wanting more is a sign of greed rather than a natural desire to grow and expand. These unconscious beliefs create an internal tug of war, where part of you strives for abundance while another part sabotages your progress. Perhaps most painful is watching opportunities pass you by. The inability to help a loved one in need, to contribute to causes you believe in, to invest in experiences that would enrich your life and the lives of those you care about. This gap between your generous heart and your limited resources creates a particular kind of heartache. And let us acknowledge the fear that whispers this will never change, that financial struggle is simply woven into the fabric of your destiny. The fear that perhaps you've missed some essential understanding about prosperity that everyone else seems to grasp intuitively. In these struggles, you are not alone. These patterns of financial limitation have touched countless lives across generations and cultures. What if these very challenges aren't evidence of some personal failing, but rather an invitation to discover a deeper truth about abundance that can only be revealed through the contrast of lack? What if your financial history, with all its ups and downs, has been preparing you for a profound shift in consciousness that will transform not just your bank account, but your entire relationship with the energy of prosperity? In the midst of financial struggle, we often exhaust ourselves searching for practical solutions, budgeting techniques, investment strategies, side hustles, and endless planning. While these tools have their place, they address only the external symptoms of a deeper reality. Today, I want to introduce you to the most underestimated financial tool available to humanity: the power of aligned, intentional prayer. Prayer is not merely wishful thinking or desperate pleading. True prayer is a deliberate realignment of your consciousness with the infinite source of all abundance. It is the bridge between your current financial reality and the prosperity that divine wisdom has always intended for you. Ask, and it shall be given to you. Seek, and you shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. These ancient words remind us of a profound spiritual principle, that the universe is fundamentally responsive to authentic seeking. The asking must come from a place of genuine alignment, not desperation. The seeking must be consistent, not sporadic. The knocking must be persistent, fueled by unshakable faith rather than fear. Prayer works because it addresses the root of financial limitation, the consciousness of lack that precedes and perpetuates material scarcity. When we pray with clarity and conviction, we begin to dissolve the invisible barriers within our own minds that have been blocking the natural flow of abundance into our lives. Many approach prayer as a transactional exchange, a list of requests handed over in the hope of divine fulfillment. But transformative prayer operates on a higher principle. It is communion rather than transaction, alignment rather than appeal. It acknowledges that abundance is already present in the universe, waiting not for divine permission to flow into your life, but for your permission to receive it. This is not about manipulating spiritual forces to bend to human desires. Rather, it's about aligning your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs with the laws of abundance that have governed the universe since its inception. Just as gravity doesn't require your belief to function, these laws of prosperity operate whether you recognize them or not. Prayer simply helps you consciously align with what has always been available. The prayer we will share today acts as a recalibration tool for your relationship with money. It addresses not just your immediate financial needs, but the deeper patterns that have created your current circumstances. It speaks to your ancestral relationship with wealth, clearing generational limitations. It acknowledges your personal history with money, healing past wounds and disappointments. And most importantly, it opens new channels for prosperity to flow into your life in ways that may surprise and delight you. Some may dismiss prayer as passive or impractical in the face of financial challenges. But authentic prayer is never passive. It is the most active thing you can do because it works directly with the creative forces that shape physical reality. Prayer doesn't replace practical action. It infuses your actions with divine guidance and exponential power. Financial breakthrough requires both inner and outer work. The outer work involves your practical steps, your skills, your labor, your financial decisions. But the inner work of aligning your consciousness with abundance is what transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary results. This is the domain where prayer operates with unparalleled effectiveness. Today's prayer is not merely words recited, it is a sacred technology for transformation. Each phrase has been carefully crafted to address specific aspects of your prosperity consciousness. As you participate in this prayer with your whole heart, you are literally rewiring neural pathways that have kept you locked in patterns of limitation. Are you ready to experience the difference between ordinary prayer and transformative spiritual alignment? Are you prepared to open yourself to abundance in ways you may never have considered? The key stands before you now, not in some distant future or external source, but in the very center of your being, waiting to be activated through the sacred language of intentional prayer. Before we enter into this powerful prayer together, I invite you to take a moment to prepare your heart and mind. This isn't just about hearing words, it's about participating in a sacred moment that can become a turning point in your financial story. Find a quiet space right now if you can, somewhere you won't be interrupted for these next moments. If you're driving or in a public place, that's okay too. Simply close your eyes briefly if it's safe to do so, or soften your gaze and turn your attention inward. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Hold it for a moment, and now release it slowly through your mouth. Feel the tension begin to leave your body with that breath. Take another deep breath, and as you exhale, imagine releasing all the financial worry, stress, and limitation you've been carrying. One more deep breath. This time, as you inhale, imagine yourself drawing in divine abundance, infinite possibility, and perfect provision. Now I want to invite you to place one hand over your heart. This simple physical gesture connects you to your heart center, where your deepest truths reside. With your hand on your heart, I want you to whisper these words as a declaration of openness. I am ready to receive. This phrase, I am ready to receive, is more powerful than you might realize. For many of us, our conscious minds may desire prosperity while our subconscious minds resist it, due to past programming, unworthiness beliefs, or fear of responsibility. By declaring your readiness to receive, you begin to align these different aspects of yourself. As we move into this prayer together, I encourage you to do more than just listen. Repeat the words in your mind or whisper them aloud. Allow yourself to feel the emotions that arise. Visualize the images that naturally form as you hear these words. Your active participation amplifies the power of this experience. And here's something meaningful you can do to anchor this moment. Either before or after our prayer, write down the phrase, "My prosperity is now activated," on a small piece of paper. Place this paper somewhere you'll see it daily, perhaps in your wallet, near your credit cards, on your bathroom mirror, or as the background image on your phone. Each time you see it, touch it and repeat those words. This simple act becomes a physical step of faith, a tangible reminder of this spiritual alignment. Are you ready? With your hands still on your heart, take one final deep breath. Feel your connection to something larger than yourself, to the infinite source of all abundance. Feel your worthiness to receive prosperity as your divine birthright. Now let us pray together, allowing these words to penetrate beyond your intellect and into the very fabric of your consciousness. Divine source of all abundance, I come before you now with an open heart and a receptive spirit. I acknowledge that you are the ultimate provider, the infinite wellspring from which all prosperity flows. In this sacred moment, I release all limiting beliefs about money and abundance that have kept me bound to patterns of lack. I recognize that my financial struggles have not defined me. They have refined me. They have prepared me for this moment of transformation, this turning point in my relationship with prosperity. Today, I choose to see myself through your eyes, as worthy, as abundant, as naturally aligned with the flow of divine provision. Father of light, I confess that I have sometimes doubted your desire to prosper me. I have questioned whether abundance was truly your will for my life. I have allowed the temporary circumstances of lack to cloud my understanding of your eternal nature as a generous provider. Today, I renew my mind. I choose to believe that you delight in my prosperity, that my financial well-being brings you joy. Right now, divine transformation is beginning in my finances. The same power that created worlds from nothing is restructuring my financial reality. Old patterns of lack are dissolving. Ancestral limitations around money are being uprooted. The chains of financial struggle that have restricted my life for too long are breaking, link by link, in this very moment. I declare that new channels of income are opening for me now. Unexpected opportunities are being drawn to me. Creative ideas with financial potential are being downloaded into my consciousness. People who will recognize my value and compensate me accordingly are being divinely aligned with my path. As the sun rises with certainty each morning, your provision rises in my life with unwavering faithfulness. I am learning to trust this rhythm of abundance, not as a distant hope, but as my present reality. My faith is no longer fragmentary or conditional. It is becoming whole and absolute. Divine Provider, I thank you that even now, resources that have been held back are being released. Debts that have seemed insurmountable are finding pathways to resolution. Financial burdens that have felt like mountains are being reduced to pebbles before the power of your abundance. I breathe in prosperity with each breath. I exhale limitation with each release. My very cells are being recoded with the divine pattern of abundance. My DNA is remembering its original design, created not for struggle but for flourishing, not for mere survival but for overflowing life. Where I have unconsciously resisted wealth, I now choose conscious receptivity. Where I have harbored guilt about wanting more, I now embrace the truth that my prosperity enables greater giving. Where I have feared the responsibility of abundance, I now welcome the opportunity to be a wise steward of blessing. I declare that my bank account is transforming into a testament of your goodness. My financial statements are becoming documents of divine provision. My relationship with money is healing, transforming from one of anxiety and avoidance to one of gratitude and wise management. Waters of abundance are breaking through the dams of limitation in my life. What began as a trickle will become a stream. What was a stream will become a river. What was a river will become an ocean of provision that not only meets my needs, but empowers me to be a blessing to others. Divine wisdom, illuminate my financial decisions. Show me when to save and when to invest, when to give and when to receive, when to work and when to rest in faith. I surrender my financial future to your perfect guidance, trusting that you see opportunities I cannot yet perceive and paths I have not yet imagined. The seeds of prosperity I plant today, through this prayer, through my aligned actions, through my shifted beliefs, will grow into mighty trees of abundance that will provide shade and fruit not just for me, but for generations to come. I am breaking financial cycles not just for myself, but for my children and my children's children. I forgive those who have contributed to my financial struggles, employers who undervalued me, partners who mismanaged resources, institutions that took advantage, and even myself for choices made from fear rather than wisdom. This forgiveness clears the path for unobstructed abundance to flow into my life. Divine Source, I release the timeline of my financial breakthrough into your hands. I will not limit you with my human expectations of when and how. Instead, I open myself to divine surprises, to prosperity arriving in ways more creative and in timing more perfect than my mind could have engineered. Money is finding its way to me through multiple channels. Some I recognize, others I have yet to discover. Resources are being divinely directed toward the fulfillment of my needs and the manifestation of my God-given dreams. The universe itself is conspiring for my prosperity. I stand now at the threshold of financial renewal. Behind me lie the memories of struggle. Before me stretches the landscape of abundance. With each step I take in faith, this new territory becomes more familiar, more natural, more undeniably mine to inhabit. My capacity to receive is expanding in this very moment. Old containers that could hold only limited prosperity are being replaced with new vessels designed for abundance. What once seemed impossible is becoming inevitable as my consciousness aligns with the infinite resources of the universe. Divine Provider, I thank you that supernatural favor surrounds my finances like a shield. Opportunities that others might miss are illuminated for me. Resources that might remain hidden from others are revealed to me. Doors that might stay closed to others swing open before me, invited by the key of my renewed faith. The work of my hands is blessed. The thoughts of my mind are inspired. The choices of my heart are guided. Every aspect of my financial life bears the watermark of divine purpose and provision. I am becoming a living testimony of what is possible when human openness meets divine generosity. My financial restoration will encourage others who still walk through the valley of lack. My breakthrough will become a doorway through which others can glimpse their own potential prosperity. As surely as night gives way to dawn, my season of financial limitation is yielding to a new day of abundance. Not as a distant promise, but as a present reality unfolding with each passing moment. Not as a spiritual concept, but as tangible provision that can be touched, used, shared, and enjoyed. Divine Source of all good things, I receive your prosperity now, without guilt, without fear, without hesitation. I open my hands, my heart, my life to the full measure of abundance you have intended for me since the beginning of time. Let it be so. Let it be now. In perfect faith, I receive. As we emerge from this sacred prayer space, I want you to notice something, a subtle shift that has already taken place within you. Perhaps it's a lightness where financial heaviness once resided. Perhaps it's a quiet certainty replacing anxious doubt. Perhaps it's simply a renewed hope that wasn't there before. These subtle internal changes are the first evidence of the transformation that is now unfolding in your financial reality. What we've done together is more powerful than most realize. We haven't just spoken words into the air, we've realigned your consciousness with the divine flow of abundance. We've cleared invisible blockages that have been restricting your prosperity. We've planted seeds in fertile spiritual soil that will grow into tangible financial fruit in your life. I believe with complete conviction that your financial story is being rewritten starting today. The old narratives of never enough and always struggling are being replaced with new truths of more than sufficient and increasingly prosperous. This isn't wishful thinking, it's spiritual reality manifesting in your material world. Right now, even as these words reach your ears, new financial possibilities are being orchestrated on your behalf. Resources that have been held back are beginning to flow toward you. People who will play significant roles in your financial breakthrough are being divinely connected to your path. Opportunities that perfectly match your gifts and needs are being aligned for your discovery. I see financial burdens that have weighed on your shoulders for years becoming lighter and more manageable. Where you once saw insurmountable debt, you will begin to see clear pathways to freedom. Where you once experienced shortage, you will increasingly encounter more than enough. Where closed doors have frustrated your progress, new doors are swinging open with surprising ease. The creator of the universe, who formed galaxies from nothing, who designed systems of perfect provision throughout nature, is restructuring your financial reality according to the original blueprint of abundance that has always existed for your life. This divine restructuring isn't bound by human timelines or limited by economic conditions. It operates according to spiritual principles that transcend the temporary circumstances of this world. I declare that unexpected income is finding its way to you. Divine ideas with financial potential are being downloaded into your mind. Business concepts, creative projects, new skills, marketplace solutions, these inspired thoughts are seeds of prosperity being planted within you. Nurture them, act on them. They are part of your abundance pathway. Where financial stress has affected your health, restoration is beginning. Where money worries have strained your relationships, healing is taking place. Where lack has limited your ability to fulfill your purpose, new resources are being released. Every aspect of your life touched by financial constraint is now being touched by divine sufficiency. The same power that transforms night into day is transforming your financial situation from scarcity to abundance. This transformation isn't dependent on global economies or market fluctuations. It flows from an inexhaustible spiritual source that knows no recession, experiences no downturn, and recognizes no limitation. I believe you will look back on this day as the turning point, the moment when your financial reality began its upward trajectory. Not because of some magical formula, but because something fundamental shifted in your relationship with prosperity. You've moved from resisting or doubting abundance to actively aligning with it. This alignment is the master key that unlocks the treasures that have been reserved for you all along. The struggles you've endured have not been meaningless. They've developed within you strengths and wisdom that will enable you to steward prosperity when it comes. They've deepened your compassion so that your abundance will naturally flow toward blessing others. They've clarified your values so that wealth will become a tool for fulfilling your highest purpose rather than an end in itself. Your bank account is changing because you are changing. Your financial circumstances are being transformed because your consciousness is being renewed. Your material reality is shifting because your spiritual alignment has been restored. This is the profound simplicity at the heart of true prosperity. I see financial breakthroughs arriving in 3 forms in your life: gradual improvements that build sustainable abundance day by day, sudden windfalls that accelerate your journey at critical moments, and divine strategies that multiply your existing resources beyond what seems mathematically possible. Remain open to all 3 expressions of provision. The prayer we've shared isn't a one-time event, but the beginning of a new financial conversation between you and the divine. Continue this dialogue daily. Nurture this connection consistently. The more you align with the frequency of abundance, the more abundantly it manifests in your tangible experience. As we bring this sacred time to a close, I want you to know that I stand with you in complete faith for the financial transformation that is now unfolding in your life. What began as words spoken in prayer is already taking form in the unseen realms, making its way into your visible reality with divine precision and perfect timing. This moment marks not an ending, but a beginning, the first day of your new financial story, a story where provision replaces panic, where abundance replaces anxiety, where prosperity becomes your lived experience rather than just a distant hope. This new chapter doesn't erase your past struggles, but redeems them as the foundation upon which your testimony of restoration is built. I encourage you to carry the energy of this prayer forward into your daily life. When old worries attempt to resurface, gently remind yourself of the divine realignment that has taken place today. When practical challenges arise, approach them from this new position of spiritual abundance rather than familiar scarcity. Let your decisions, your words, and your actions flow from a place of already provided for rather than still desperately seeking. If this message has touched something deep within you, I invite you to share it with someone else who may be walking through their own valley of financial struggle. Your willingness to share these words might become the lifeline they've been praying for. Abundance multiplies when it flows through open hands rather than clenched fists. In the days ahead, pay attention to the subtle shifts that begin appearing in your financial landscape. Notice the unexpected provision, the creative ideas, the new opportunities that seem to arise from nowhere. These are not coincidences, but confirmations, tangible evidence of the invisible work that began during our time in prayer. I believe with all my heart that someone listening right now stands at the very edge of their greatest financial breakthrough. The prayer we've shared today was the final key needed to unlock doors that have remained stubbornly closed until now. If that's you, prepare yourself, not with anxious anticipation, but with peaceful expectation and grateful readiness to receive. May your bank accounts become testimonies of divine faithfulness. May your financial statements reflect the abundance that has always been your spiritual birthright. May the resources that flow into your life bring not just material comfort but profound purpose as you discover the joy of being both blessed and a blessing. Until we meet again, remember this truth. The same divine source that clothes the lilies in splendor and provides for every creature has not forgotten you. Your name is known, your needs are seen, your prosperity matters, and your season of financial transformation has already begun. Walk forward in peace, in confidence, and in the absolute certainty that your bank account and your life will never be the same again.